Alors, bonjour tout le monde. Hello, everyone. We're going to get the ceremony going. C'est le temps de débuter. Tout d'abord, mon nom c'est Donald Boudreau. Je suis membre du bureau de direction de l'autorité portuaire. I'm a member of the board of directors for the Harbor Authority. I want to welcome everybody. Avant d'aller plus loin, je vais faire un énoncé. So I'll be reading some text before we move on. I want to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered today on the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. Je tiens d'abord à souligner que nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui sur le territoire traditionnel non cédé des Mi'kmaq. Bon, this is a pretty joyous day compared to September 24th, 2022 pour nous. Mais aujourd'hui, c'était une journée joyeuse. J'aimerais souligner la présence des personnes suivantes. I want to recognize the presence of the following people, and I know I'm going to miss some people, and I apologize in advance. Tout d'abord, l'honorable Dominic Leblanc, député fédéral de Beauséjour et ministre de la Sécurité publique, des institutions démocratiques et des affaires intergouvernementales.
So the federal government used the arrest of 4 Alberta men charged with conspiracy to killing an RCMP officer just as a justification to break up a protest in Ottawa and in Windsor. These charges now have largely been dropped. So does this undermine the government's reasoning for using the Emergency Act to break up the protest?
Not at all. Not at all. I was an active participant in those conversations around invoking the Emergencies Act. I think Canadians recognize that it was an extraordinary measure of last resort. Justice Rouleau, who reviewed the circumstances, confirmed that. Premier Ford, the Conservative Premier of Ontario, supported the invocation. I think Canadians supported the invocation. It was a time-limited, reasonable, and balanced measure which brought an end to a very dangerous, potentially violent, and economically destructive circumstance. So I'm very proud of that decision the government took. It was the right decision, and the courts and the justice system work independently from the government. But the government, I think, took the only responsible decision at that time, and I'm proud that we did it.
And just back to this announcement, if I can get one more.
You want to go from Coutts, Alberta to Cheyenne?
I do, if you may. I'm just wondering what the management of the funds from the government might look like in terms of how the money will be used for the project.
So you could ask the representative of the Harbour Authority. Basically, it's the continuation of years of investment in the infrastructure of the wharf. So you heard the President talk about rebuilding the breakwater, which is behind me. These are millions of dollars to raise the level of the breakwater, to make the wharf more resilient to these kind of extreme weather events like Hurricane Fiona. There's infrastructure that you don't see underwater that also has to be strengthened. There were projects to dredge the harbour, to remove some of the sand in the harbour, which made it difficult for some boats to get in and out. And it's also strengthening the basic infrastructure of the wharf, which then allows businesses, like the dozens you see up and down the wharf, to then invest their own money and improve their businesses, bring more tourists. So the government has a role to play. The Harbour Authority is a not-for-profit organization. They can't easily get millions of dollars of insurance coverage for extreme weather events. So if the government hadn't stepped forward to help them rebuild after Fiona, but also make it more resilient against future extreme weather events, then you would have lost dozens and dozens of jobs and hundreds of thousands of visitors that would come here year over year. No, all of the money hasn't been handed out. The Harbour Authority was informed of the decision so they could plan some of the tendering. I'm told that just over half of the work may have been completed, and the remainder of the work will start after this season. So the Harbour Authority has to get engineering projects done. They have to line up contractors, and they have to time it in terms of when they can do the work to cause the least damage during the peak of the season. So maybe half of the work has been undertaken, but the big breakwater, which was one of the most expensive and one of the most significant pieces in terms of protecting the wharf from future damage, I think that'll be done late fall and over the course of the winter, so it'll be ready for next season.
No follow-up? Okay.
Merci.
Lucia.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
So one of my colleagues is saying that Atlantic and national business groups are saying that changes to the temporary foreign worker program will be difficult in some areas of the province and in other provinces where there's less of a labor pool, like in the northern regions. I was just wondering if there should be any stipulation for different parts of the regions and different provinces because of the differences in the labor market.
So we have been very flexible and very accommodating with respect to the temporary foreign worker program because it's very important to certain sectors of the economy. It's always been important, for example, in the agriculture and agri-food sector. It's important for some fish processing, seafood processing businesses. But we also think that the time has come after the economic disruption of COVID to return to a more normal, traditional level in terms of a recourse to low-wage foreign labor. So we'll continue to work with businesses and ensure that obviously access to labor is something that they can achieve, but we want to work with them to try in as many cases as possible as offer those opportunities to Canadians.
And we'll take one last question.
Sure. So I was just wondering if we should expect to see a cabinet shuffle. I know there's been some talk of it. I was wondering if that was something we might see in the future.
Very good question. You should ask the Prime Minister. He was here last year with me at the Pointe de Chine Wharf. We had a great dinner at the Sandbar on a crowded Friday night. I had a great time with my colleagues working in Halifax this week. I have no information on that at all. I'm doing my job and really enjoying it. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.